Hey, welcome to another edition of Kyle Meredith with. It's the interview series presented by WFPK at WFPK.org, Consequence, and the Consequence Podcast Network. Thanks as always for making your way here. Check out the series. Of course, you know what to do if you like what you see, what you hear. Hit that subscribe button. I put out 3 new interviews every single week, so it's a great way to keep up with all of your favorite artists. And I'm so excited to have her on for the first time on the show. I don't know how it's taken so long. Marytimony is here with a brand new solo record called Untame The Tiger. Hello.
Hi. Thanks for having me. This is great.
Yeah, no, I'm so excited to talk to you. I've been a fan for so long, and really, I was looking around, I was like,
Thanks.
how have we of the many bands that you've had through the years, of course, over the past decade, we'll know you from Wild Flag and X Hex, you know, and then all the stuff beyond that. I've been such a fan for a long time. So let me tell you first how really how honored I am, but second, to tell you how much I'm enjoying this brand new record. It's
Oh,
so
thank you.
good.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I feel like I feel good about this one. I really worked hard on making it come out how I wanted it to. So that thank you. I'm glad to
Yeah.
hear that.
Well, you know, we'll start with the, you know, some of the obvious stuff. This is your first solo record in 15 years, I think, or something like that, whatever the math is. Like
Yeah.
why was it time for a solo record? Like, you know, what, you know, because you've got even beyond X Hex, what I saw you were, you know, the Hammered Holes, you know, you have so many options. How did it land
Oh
here?
yeah. Well, I was writing songs during I think it was like the pandemic, and they just sounded like stuff that I used to do when I did solo records. Um it just made sense. That's just what they sounded like to me. That's like the short answer. Just I don't know. I just wasn't thinking about it that hard. I
Mhm.
was just writing stuff, and seemed it seemed to be like a solo record.
Mhm.
Uh and I really wanted to have different people playing on the record that I really loved, and that happened, which was amazing. And so that's part of it too. And I also thought I wanted to use more acoustic instruments. For all those things combined, it just sort of seemed like a solo record.
Yeah. Well,
Mm.
you mentioned those people you want to work with. I think you might be referencing Dave Mattacks. Is that right?
Yeah, yeah, and all yeah, everybody that played on it is was so great to work with, and Dave in particular was it was like a real dream come true. I couldn't even believe that that happened, so it was amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. And for the folks who don't know, of course, Dave, drummer for Fairport Convention.
Yeah, yeah,
Among,
drummer
yeah.
for Fairport Convention, who is incredible. And then like he was a session drummer in the 70s and 80s in London, and I mean through has been a session drummer since
Mhm.
then. So he's played on just so many recordings. It's unbelievable, and so many of my favorite records. So
Yeah.
it was such a dream come true to actually play with him. I couldn't believe that that worked out. He
Yeah.
was amazing. He was so incredibly good and so fun and nice, and it was just great.
Yeah. Does that I mean, does that when you work with someone specific like that, I guess what I'm getting to, and I'm sure this goes with anybody that you're working with on this record. I mean, does it change the sound of what you were demoing at the
Yeah.
time or however that works?
Oh my God, yes. Like it turns out like that music is about people connecting, you know. It's like you can't see it's a solo record, but it's not a solo record. It's about collaborating with people. That's really what music is. That's I think that's when music really connects to people, is when there's like a good energy between the people who are playing it, and that's what's exciting about it. So yeah, I mean, I brought the songs, but everybody else brought like everything to make them like a reality, and make them better than they would have been if I had done them into. So yeah, it's all about that
Yeah.
for
The mood
sure.
of it. I mean, and there's this mood that kind of traces throughout the record, you know, and maybe you use certain words and descriptors several times, so of course it puts me there like the desert
Oh
and the
yeah.
sun. Like it, but it
Yeah.
like musically it feels like a desert record on top of that.
Oh, thanks. That was really going for that. So that's exciting to hear. Yeah, no, especially the first song, No Thirds. That it was like really, I just had this feeling like it needed to sound really barren and empty, and so I worked pretty hard to preserve that feeling in the mix, actually, and also the way we recorded it. And yeah, anyway, so sonically I tried to make sure that that came across somehow.
Yeah.
Like I just wanted to feel like you're driving across the desert.
Is there any
There's
reason
way
why?
because that song is sort of about like just starting your life over again and being in a big unknown space and saying goodbye to, or just, like things in life are just constantly changing because that's what life is. So but I guess I wrote that song when a lot of things were falling apart in my life. so
It's when the
so
best songs
if,
come, I think, right? That's
yeah, apparently.
yeah.
uh my advice for how to write a good song is first make your life get completely messed up. Then maybe you'll have some ideas.
Yeah, maybe the but that is
Yeah.
that's I always feel like that's the voyeuristic part of any interview. Because we hear
Yeah.
about these things. We hear about relationships falling apart. There's a part of the story where you lost both your parents
Yeah.
around this time
Yeah.
too.
Oh yeah. No, we're deep in the middle of that. Yeah, that was intense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I spent, I guess, well, yeah. So, my dad got dementia, and I was the primary caregiver, and and my mom got cancer. So between like he basically died right as I was starting to record the record, and then my mom died right as we finished. So it was a really intense, but also like I'm looking back at it, like really awesome, beautiful time that I got to really connect with them too, because I was around a lot and helping them, and it was really hard.
Yeah.
But um I wouldn't like I'm just so glad I was able to have that time with them too. So anyway, and the songs came out of it, which was nice. But anyway, so yeah, it was a really intense time.
Yeah. Well, first
Yeah.
off, I'm so sorry to hear
No,
all
no,
of that.
thanks. I mean, yeah, it's just life.
Sure, and it
Just
is, but
yeah.
and I don't know if you think of like, when you get a moment like this for a record. I mean, is it a refuge to kind of
Yeah.
separate from those
Well,
moments?
that's what the thing about this record for me was actually it really helped me uh a lot during that time because it was something I had could go to that was mine that I could focus on because I was doing a lot of caretaking. So yeah, that was really helping me process it all. And I really, yeah, it was the cool thing is very removed from like my music career. It was
Mm.
like, you know, just a thing I was working on that I was excited about. And I didn't have a time frame, which was nice. I just wasn't thinking about any of that stuff. And it was also the pandemic was happening, so for a lot of reasons it was kind of like a break from reality, and I was just in this zone with like helping my parents. That was really intense. There's always like a lot of crises going on with that. But I also had really good bonding time with them, which is really wonderful. And then just sort of like as a way of getting away from the stress, I would write songs. And then when I was had enough songs, I was and my mom and my dad had passed away. My mom was being, she was in a better place. Like she moved to this really great um, community that was awesome actually for
Yeah.
her. And so then I had time to actually record, which was really nice. And that became my thing that I did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
So
seriously,
the whole thing
hearing,
was like 3 years probably. Yeah.
wow. Yeah. I mean, I was just thinking about some of even the lyrics. I mean, you know, I don't mind saying the poetry in this record because I'm looking like, no thirds. We wandered from the garden. Don't want to wander alone. And
Yeah.
and that loneliness is there, and the guest, I mean, as what
Yeah.
you were saying, like it's a song sung directly to
Oh
loneliness.
yeah, that one. Yeah, that one. It was just like this really simple set of chords I had lying around, and then one day, uh, I didn't think I could do anything, but one day the lyrics sort of happened. So I feel like the song only works because of the lyrics. The lyrics make it kind of work. But yeah, it was sort of like I was imagining um like loneliness as a person that just keeps coming around to your front door, and you're like, oh my god, not again. I thought you left. So then it's sort of like I was just saying, like, the loneliness is the most loyal friend because it just keeps coming back.
Mhm.
So anyway, it just came from that feeling of like, yeah, I guess I was going through a breakup at the time. So I was just like, all right, here's this feeling again. It just never seems to go. Anyway, so that's what that song is about.
Well, I love I love the contradiction of that. Like loneliness is
Yeah.
someone who keeps showing up. You're
Yeah.
being held company by loneliness, and you just want it to go
Yeah.
away so you could be alone. Like there's so many
Yeah, you thought it
twists in that.
left. I know. It's like you thought it left, but like, it's your doorbell's like ringing again and it's back. It's like, wait, actually, are you my friend? Because you're always coming around. Yeah.
But still, the way I mean,
Okay.
and the different versions of what you're writing about with I don't know if Domino's is written about the same experience with the same person.
No, Domino's is kind of a fun. It's more of a song about dating the wrong person, like
Mhm.
knowing that you're dating, like knowing, okay, this is the person that I always fall for, but they're really not the right person because they're a little crazy.
Sometimes people are just
Crazy
placeholders.
people are great. Yeah, placeholders. I mean, also the crazy people are always the most fun and talented, and they're
Sure.
inspiring. They inspire songs. Again, I'm one of them. So,
You're that crazy person for someone else.
oh, probably yes,
I think we
in a
all are.
different
I'm
way.
certain
Yeah,
we all
yeah,
are if we dated enough people. Yeah, right.
yeah.
What I loved reading about that song Dominoes is you said it almost didn't make the record and you needed one more
Mhm.
song. And I thought someone needs to write a book of the history of we needed one more song,
Yeah,
and that song becomes the single. That song becomes whatever, the hit for some people.
yeah.
Or that's a thing.
I know it really is a thing. It's because why is that? Because you're
You're
just
the
not
expert. Why
precious
is
about.
that?
Oh, I don't know. I'm not an expert. I think like it's people just aren't precious about them, and it's like I don't know. For me, I had thrown it away pretty much, or just forgot about it, and then I was like weeding. I knew I needed one more song. I was weeding through like a hard drive of or something like on my iTunes of like demos I'd done, and actually my friend Dennis who helped produce the record with me was like, I found 7 or 8 things I had thrown away, and he's like, that one's really cool, and I was like, okay. So maybe I thank Dennis for that.
Yeah.
Um, but it is a weird song because it's like in 2 different keys, so it's kind of like I don't know if it, but anyway, yeah, no, it's true that like that is a thing. I think it's because you're just not uh, um precious about the ones that you threw away, so you
Mhm.
find it again, you're like, oh, that kind of works. But whereas the ones you really are like, this is gonna be then you just, I don't know, it gets messed up because you work too hard on it.
I've talked about this a few times throughout this series and my love of B-sides, because B-sides, a lot of
Oh,
times for artists, are the ones that, as you say, aren't precious, are the ones that are a little bit unfinished.
uh-huh.
It's like, well, we didn't finish
Yeah.
that one and we need something to fill out whatever, a soundtrack or a side B or whatever. It's like, just use that one. And I don't, for whatever reason, I get attracted to those,
Yeah,
little
I hear you.
little bastard songs, whatever
I
they are.
know. No, I love that too, actually. I mean, I feel like most of my favorite bands have a bunch of unlistenable records that are just drive me nuts, and then the good ones are so good. Or
Yeah.
same with the song, like some songs were I'm like, wow, am I really just listening to like a bass solo for 20 minutes on this song? I never thought about that, because the next song I'm like, this is genius. Like, yeah.
Mhm.
So I love that contrast. I love seeing uh I love knowing artists' vulnerable parts. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? Like the
Mhm.
song that didn't work. Um, and for all my favorite musicians, those are some of my favorite
Yeah,
moments,
something
actually.
about
Yeah. So I totally agree with that.
yeah. Do you find at this point in your career, like you also, and I'm going back to the press release, like I think you were talking about a specific song, but you name checked some great artists with the Kinks and Dio and Elf and Rory Gallagher.
Yeah.
Do you find at this point that you use influences in your work? Is that helpful anymore?
Oh, we all do all the time, like one thing I realized is that I suffered from as a younger person was thinking I was making it all up on my own. And I do see that's like a 20s thing where like I'm
Sure.
doing my own thing. That's you got it. It's like it's our biology or something. When you're young, you think you're gonna forge your own path. And you do. And young people do that, which is why we keep moving forward. But one thing I never realized is how much it's all we're all helping each other, learning from each other, and um influenced by, and that's all it is. We're just making stories, and that we're all, it's
Right.
like a giant web. We're all working on this together, is what I've realized as an older person now. So, and now yeah, I'm very, and now that, like, I don't know, I am way more conscious of and appreciative of all the stuff I love. And but there's like a difference between, I believe, for my own music, and letting the stuff influence me unconsciously rather than consciously, because when you consciously try to imitate something, it just becomes derivative, and that's not good for anybody,
Hmm.
because then you're just copycat. So I try to avoid that if I can, but that's that's what the work, that's what the challenge is
Sure.
trying to make up your own story and just trying to be vulnerable, which I'm getting a little bit better. When I was younger, I never wanted to be vulnerable. I was always hiding in my music behind things. So yeah, I think the challenge is just to be as vulnerable as you can and to be as honest as you can, and then you've made up your own story. And
And
all
you've done
the influences are all there with you along. You don't have to try to copy either. You're just going to copy.
right. That's what I was thinking. Like there those moments on here, the title track has all kinds of 70s sounds that I love, going
Oh,
on in it.
thanks. Yeah.
But I mean, you have forged your own path, whether or not. I mean, I don't know how important it
Yeah.
was, the Rolling Stone 250 greatest guitarists of all time, and there you are in the top 100. I mean,
It was cool. Yeah, that was crazy. I mean, that whole thing is blown up. It's like now it's like there's all these women. It's all changed, and
yeah,
for whatever reason, but I mean, they mean so much to me. But of course I have to be a little bit suspect, because like they're just trying to be more PC here, but I also really appreciate it. And I'm just glad the people that made the list this year, they're valuing things besides technique and flashiness and show offiness. So that's cool. It's like inventiveness is valued, which I
yeah,
guess always has been. But anyway, so yeah, that whole list was really, it's really different now.
yeah,
The gender thing has really shifted, which is great. And music has shifted.
right.
So
And it has.
reflecting that. Yeah.
And you said the PC thing, and I think everyone kind of thought maybe that, but even if that was the impetus,
Mhm.
like what was
That's good.
wrong with that? Like it
Nothing.
finally
Don't
did
argue.
shine the light on the
Yeah.
people that should have.
Oh, sure. Yeah, no, everything's got to change. So it's good. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I love seeing you on there. I love the recognition, getting it to the people who deserve it, by the way.
Thank you.
And
That's
it's so
thanks.
good. So you take I'm guessing you'll take this out on tour, tour the
Oh
solo
yeah.
record.
Yep. Yep.
Do you on a solo tour, like how do you treat that? Do you allow for any songs in your entire catalog, or do you kind of keep it just the solo stuff?
Oh, that's what I am just currently sorting out. But yeah, no, I'm gonna play like half the set will be from the new record, and then I'm gonna play a few Helium songs and a couple older solo songs, but mostly the new record probably.
Yeah.
It depends. I don't know. It's hard to figure that stuff out, but I just honestly I'm just choosing of the old stuff just ones that are fun to play, and then um checking in with the people. I'm so excited because I'm playing with some really amazing musicians on the tour in the band, and I'm so happy about that. And yeah, so we're just gonna choose some ones that are fun to play, and hopefully it'll go over okay.
It's like I said, I mean, what's the term, a wealth of whatever, wealth of choices that you have just with any
Yeah,
of
at
the
this
projects.
point, yeah, it's
Yeah.
the funny thing about getting older is like we're like, whoa, I guess I have made some records. I just keep doing it, but it starts adding up after a while. I know that's weird to say, but I forget that I'm like older than other indie rock people that are, it's like, okay, I guess I have made a lot of records. Oh,
And thank goodness that you have. I mean, again, I
yeah,
say that,
yeah.
from the fans' point of view, that I just love what you do.
No,
And
thanks.
seriously, this record, Untame the Tiger, I freaking love it. It's so
Oh
good.
my God, thank you so much.
Yeah, I just
I
keep
really
spinning it
appreciate
over
it.
and over, and on
Wow,
FPK
thank you.
we're putting dominoes into heavy rotation, and it already
Oh
sounds
my
so
gosh.
good. So,
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that.
oh, thank
Means a
you, and
lot.
thank you for taking the time to talk about it. Seriously.
Yeah, thank you so much.
And thanks to my guest. Also, thanks to you for checking out the episode in the series. Before you get out of here, hit that subscribe button. Again, you get 3 brand new interviews every single week, new one every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at right here on YouTube, or of course anywhere in podcast land, including iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Podchaser, NPR, or WFPK.org as well. A great way to keep up with your favorite artists and discover new ones as well. Then after that, actually head over to WFPK.org. That's where I do a show Monday through Friday, 6 p.m. Eastern. It's an hour full of song premieres, music news, anniversary spins, bonus interviews, Monday through Friday, 6 p.m. Eastern at WFPK.org. Consequence has your music and film news. You can also find me on the social media spots, Facebook, Instagram, mostly on Twitter. All 3 of them, the address is at Kyle Meredith. Do hope you like and follow along. That does it for another edition. I'm Kyle Meredith. I'll see you next time.